Well, and during the SIA Cup 2015, we have a man who comes from a family of blue bloods. Racing is about pedigrees, and there are very few men in this world who have achieved as much as Freddy Head has. When you talk about Willie Shoemaker, Lester Piggott, you talk about Freddy Head in the same breath. Freddy, thank you for speaking with us. Let's start at the very beginning. I mean, you've got horse racing running through your veins. It's your grandfather was a rider, your father was a jockey as well, and a trainer, and your sister. I mean, it's in your genes, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. All my family comes from the beginning of races and racing in England, and they were based in Newmarket before moving on to France, the late 19th century.
All right, now for you, I mean, when did you first even sit on a horse?
I think it was 5 or something like that. My father put me on a pony, and from then on, I thought I was going to be a jockey all my life. Like, you know, young guys, they want to be pilot or I don't know, and I always thought I was going to be a jockey. And finally, I got the right size and the right weight, and that's what my dream came true.
Now, being a jockey is more about just getting onto a horse. It's about understanding horse flesh, and I think the great ones are those who, well, instinctively understand horse flesh. But how much of it was natural? You know, how much of it was the surroundings around you? Because at the end of the day, you had the best around you.
Yes, of course, it's very special. I mean, jockey, you need to know the horse, but on top of that, it's a sport. Physically, you must have the right physique to be able to ride, and it's quite tough. I mean, it's a very hard discipline. You have to watch your weight and be as light as you can, and all this makes it very funny and amusing. It's a great job.
All right, now let's talk about your life as a jockey. Let's talk about some of the big wins. I mean, you've won it all. There's really nothing that you haven't won. But there's one special moment that I want to talk to you about. You rode Ivanjica to win the Arc in 1976 for your father, and then 3 Troikas in 79 to win for your sister. How special were those?
Well, they were champions, I think. 3 Troikas were perhaps one of the best horses I ever sat on. She was a real champion. And so was Ivanjica, winning a mile like the French Guineas, and then afterwards winning mile-and-a-half Arc. She was very special. They're all champion. When you win the Arc de Triomphe, you must have something, a real horse under you.
For you, looking back at your career, what would you say were some of the moments that even now, when you look back, you know, make you feel warm in your heart? What are those that really gave you satisfaction?
I think the greatest moment, the moment I will always remember, is winning my first Arc. It was for my grandfather. He was training. I was 19. I was the youngest jockey to ever won the race. So that has started all my career. I think from then on I was a different man, I would say. And then afterwards winning, well, all the great races I've won all over the world, winning like the Breeders' Cup twice. And 20 years ago or 25 years ago, it was something. I mean, it's not like today where we travel more, but Miesque was a fantastic horse too. One of the best, maybe the best I've ever ridden.
Well, let's talk about Miesque, because, you know, it was at a time when I was I remember seeing her win the 1,000 guineas over in England, and she had a woolly coat on her, and you know, and clearly she hadn't come there to win a beauty contest, but she absolutely demolished that field. But the Breeders' Cup, for a European horse to win in the US was always very difficult. I mean, even great ones like Dancing Brave went out there and failed. And then the following year you came back with Miesque, and in '88 again with Miesque. Describe that entire experience to us. I mean, take us through that race, because especially in '88, at one stage it looked like she wouldn't get through.
She was very special. Loved the pace. She needed pace, And of course, in America, they set off quite fast, and which things we don't do at home in France. And she was at her best, and she could take any race. She was tough. She had the speed. She could stay. She was a real champion, a real champion. And of course, winning Breeders' Cup at that time was very special. And to win it twice, she was the first horse to do it. So that was something very, very special.
Yeah, the Americans must have been very, very shocked, no question about it. Freddie, let's talk about the transformation from jockey to trainer. It isn't always easy because it's a different trade, it's a different skill, and it requires a different kind of temperament as well. You know, even Lester really couldn't do it too successfully. But let's talk about how you've been able to manage this transformation, because you've had some great horses, Moonlight Cloud, Olympic Glory. You know, it's just been a fantastic transformation.
I know that is very special. It's the thing I'm always thinking of. I mean, you see, I'm from a trainer's family, so and I knew from a long time that I would become a trainer, even in my riding days. So in my head, I knew what it was gonna be, and of course, from your jockey, you're alone. You have nothing. You're just a saddle, a pair of boots. And suddenly, as a trainer, you have people under your care. You have, you know, wages and things like that. It's quite a different. It took me a few months, even a few years, I would say, to make the, you know, transition. But I'm very happy. I was very, very lucky to train such champions that I have trained. And of course that helps a lot. I have very good owners, and so all this makes it much more easier, I think, I would say. But I mean, it's very funny. Sometimes I say, well, you come from a, what was your jockey, you know, what was it when you were a jockey? Now I forget a bit. It was my dream, so I think now I'm leaving the ordinary life, and I have been a jockey, that's it.
Now, when you're a trainer and you've been a jockey as great as you've been, achieved as much as you have, there are times when you can't help it. You're sitting in the stands, but you are an armchair jockey, because you're saying, all right, now go there, the gap's opening, go there. What's that like?
Yes, that's true. That's true. I think it helps a bit because I know what jockeys feel like, and I know what's the race, what they feel during the race. But I'm very easy for jockeys. I never give them too much orders. I know it's a very difficult job, so I leave the guy. You know, I just tell him to do what they can. I tell him about the horse a bit, but that's all. You mustn't, you know, give too many orders to jockey, because then you get them a bit messed up, and they don't know what to do. It's a job you have. It's when the gates open that the race, you know, that you feel the race really. So you can't do much. But sometimes I would like to be in the field on the saddle.
Yes, I can imagine, especially when there's, you know, a bit of it, when you're saying, all right, switch out now, switch out. And I can imagine that. Freddie, you know, I mean, I'm very old school when it comes to horse racing, and I've, you know, seen some greats, and I'm sure you are as well. What are some of the things you'd like to see? Racing, of course, has become such a commercial game today. Sometimes one worries about the fact that the commercial is overtaking the passion and the sport. What are some of the things you'd like to see come back into the sport of horse racing?
Well, no, I think it's going the right way. Let's say it's a world over now. I mean, you see, you come from France to Singapore, then you go to Hong Kong or anywhere. I think that's how it has to be. I think it has to become a wide world affair. And but of course, you've got places where it's going a bit better. I think in our countries now it's not going so well in Europe right now. I think it has moved from the Far East now, and all the big action is in this part of the world, I think, nowadays.
I think that's the global trend in all segments of commerce. But for young riders, for young professionals, not just riders, but even those involved in the sport, what advice would you give them?
Well, to do what they like, you have to like the horses and try and do your best. And now you can, see a lot of movies and films and things about horses and horse riding. And I think you have all the tools to become a great jockey if you want to.
You mentioned Singapore. Now you've been to Singapore before. I know this is the first horse you're bringing here as a trainer, but you came as a rider and rode at the Bukit Timah racetrack.
Yeah, that's very funny. They found out that it was in 1983 that we came. There was a European team. We were four jockeys: Lester Piggott, Joe Mercer, Pat Edry, and myself. And we used to go around the Far East, Hong Kong and Penang, I think, and we rode against local jockeys, and it was great fun in those days. And they don't do that anymore. It's a bit of a shame. And of course, all this great souvenir when you're with people like they were, I mean, champions and great ones. It's always something very, very valuable.
It certainly is. And finally, outside of the world of horse racing, I'm sure. I mean, I've lived a trainer's life, so I'm sure outside of the world of horse racing, there's very little time for anything else. But who is Freddy Head? What does he like to do outside of horse racing?
Well, not much. I think I had more times when I was a jockey to sort of playing golf and things like that, which I don't do anymore. So I've got quite a large family, so I look after my children and I take a little rest. I read a bit. I like reading, and well, like anybody, and really all things is around horses. Really, it's a bit that is my life.
And family, you mentioned next generation of heads continuing in the world of horse racing.
I have a son who worked with me. Now he's working with my sister cricket at home, and he wants to become a trainer. So I hope all will be well for him, and he can achieve his dream too.
Well, I'm sure he will. This is a book that is hopefully not going to end. We're going to keep writing chapter after chapter with each generation. Thank you so much for speaking with us, Freddy, and good luck. The Patrons Bowl is a Group 1 race run over a trip of 1600 meters on the turf. The race had its initiation in 1997 and is the second leg of the Singapore 4-year-old challenge, which is preceded by the Group 2 Stewards Cup and which was followed by one of Singapore's biggest races, the Emirates Singapore Derby. The race was first won by the Francis Nathan trained Casino Raider in 1997 and was ridden by jockey Kin Kyun Lo.
Has got out immediately from the outside from Nebraska's, along with Jubilant Action putting on the pressure early, and so there's Grand Upjaw with the rails run. King as a child, Casino Raider. Also Casino Raider trying to take off. Wide out Grand Upjaw. Further back into the field, the Fearless Commander. They're coming all over the place. Nifty 2 comes home together with Regency. My golly, they're spread apart. Just about 250 to go. Casino Raider on the inside. Nebraska's wide out there. Also coming home is, I believe, Regency, and the widest of runners, Golden Boy. Casino Raider, Golden Boy on the inside of runners, Nebraska's, but Casino Raider wins the Patrons Bowl.
Laurie Laxon is the only trainer who boasts of a record of 4 wins in this race, with Dreyfus in 2004, Royal Captain in 2005, My Royal Captain in 2007, and Intercept in 2010.
They're racing in the Patrons Bowl, and missing the start. 10 lengths was High Noon. Now Supergirl got the start. Doraemon out wide. Powerful Ruler kicks up. Escamonda is fourth. He's got about 6 lengths to make up. Then High Noon, followed by Samurai Phoenix and Ravagers. Down to the 350 metre mark. Supergirl takes the lead away from Powerful Ruler. New Rosewood, Escamonda, Intercept, and goes. He's under the whip. Hasn't quite got the sprint of last time, but he's looming up on the outside. Supergirl is the leader. Goes, he's coming after Supergirl. Intercept comes through in the centre. Goes he on the outside. New Rosewood, Intercept. Intercept gets there by a neck on New Rosewood.
The Japanese-bred Wonder Horse, Jolly Shinju, saddled by Takaoka, is the last horse to have won all 3 legs of the Singapore 4-year-old challenge after she landed the Patron's Bowl and followed that up with a scintillating pillar-to-post victory in the Derby in 2009.
Hornet can't get over, he's 4 deep, does have a bit of cover. Lucky Wish third last, Dragon World second last, Raphael at Pateo. Travetti's a long way back in the field with White Chai. Big Maverick's over on the rails in the yellow colours with the white face, but they've got to catch Jolly's. Jolly Shinju, 250 metres to go. She's a couple of lengths on Kiero Bala. REM on the outside now. Big Maverick is starting to wind up. Jolly Shinju in front, Kiero Bala. Big Maverick on the outside back. Jolly Shinju's going to win the Patron's Bowl.
The 2013 winner of the race was one of the most special in the race's history. The Michael Friedman trained Super Easy ran 3rd in the Stewards Cup, but came out and won this race, putting an emphatic end to his racing career and retiring to stud with one great last flourish for everyone to remember him by.
Field now, the inside totality from First Scoop, then City Lad. It's Good Pack the leader. Overall Milagro going up on the outside. Speedy Cat a little one pace. Super Easy running on. Cash Luck in behind them. Here's Super out in the middle. Super Easy goes up with El Milagro. Good Pack. Wild Geese begins to run on, but Super Easy got to the front in the Patron's Bowl, worked away. City Lad down the outside. El Milagro boxes on, but Super Easy's going to take it out. City Lad got close, but Super Easy by a neck.
And in 2014, it was John O'Hara who scripted a fairy tale for himself when Spalato gave him a famous first career Group 1 victory to set the stage for this year.
Wall Street Boy and Flying Tempo went back to the rear. Step It Up goes up to Eyeball. Spalato with a bit of a kick of the 300 metres. Spalato and Step It Up going together. Johnny Guitar finishing fairly strongly from Cavallo. Wall Street Boy's not into it. Bendisian down the outside. It's Step It Up and Spalato fighting tooth and nail here. Spalato over on the inside. Step It Up wearing him like a glove. Spalato the inside with Step It Up. Oh, they hit it. I'd say Spalato. Maybe Spalato from Step It Up, but it's a bit like the previous race ahead, Bobber. They were followed by Bendisian.
With 10 runners in the parade ring for this Group 1 contest, all eyes were on the favourite War Affair. Trained by Alwyn Tan and ridden by Alan Munro, War Affair had made a purposeful return to the racetrack in 2015 after a 5-month break. First, he surprised the best sprinters in the Group 1 Lion City Cup over 1200 metres, a distance too short for him. And then, he had won the first leg of the Singapore Triple Crown of the 4-year-old challenge when storming home in the Group 2 Stewards Cup over 1400 metres. Now, looking for the second leg, he looked very much the part in the parade ring. His main threats would come from the patch show duo of Quechua and Magneto. Magneto had the services of Juglal in the saddle and was better suited to this trip than his stablemate was. Quechua, on the other hand, was at his best over longer, as was evident from the fact that he had won the 2200-metre Longines Gold Cup in 2014 and had run a very good third behind Dan Excel and Military Attack in the SIA Cup. Quechua retained the services of his regular rider, Corey Brown. With a short price offered for the informed War Affair, the horses left the parade ring and made their way to the gates. The Patron's Bowl is among Singapore's most prestigious races, and at the start of the race, the favourite War Affair was safely loaded as the starter prepared to set them away.
Now they're off in the Patron's Bowl. Magneto, one of the best to begin with, Order of the Sun being ridden forward. Ideal Guide is going to be very handy, followed by Quechua. Next of all, Night Wager, and 3 wide is War Affair, then Absolutely Husing, and back to the tail went Boomerang Deluxe. So they run down the back, inside 1,000 metres to go, and the front runner here is Order of the Sun, shows the way. A gap away to War Affair with Munro just feeling for the champ. Next of all is Night Wager, Quechua, Absolutely, and Husey. Inside the 350, Magneto reaches the lead, but here's War Affair, charges down the middle of Kranji and races to the front. War Affair gets away, Quechua out into the clear, begins to run on. War Affair's clear of Quechua, Magneto battles away, but 5 Group 1s for War Affair, and the resume nowhere near complete. War Affair jogs up in the Patron's Bowl by 3.
I believe he is a much better for Mauler rather than he going for the 1400 compared to the last run. So, and this run we prepped him well too. In fact, first week I backed off him a bit, and then second week and third week we increased the workload.
He's a super horse, yeah. So he's got to win the Derby now, and of course all the tactics will be at play there. So, but he's going to be the best horse in there. Today was very smooth because the pace was good. It was faster than the 1400 metre race, probably on sectionals, you know. And we raced along really smoothly, and I got some cover early, and I just had him poised, you know, at the 600s, ready to strike. And yeah, he naturally does that. He knows how to race. So at the 400, he changes gears and goes, and just you close on them so easily. And then you've got the whole straight in front of you to keep him going. So.
In what was a true run race, Warfare proved to be completely dominant. Forced to travel more wide than he liked and without any real cover, he mowed down the field as if they were standing still and was running away from them at the post. With another 400 meters to cover on Derby Day, he will almost certainly go in as the favourite for the race, despite the fact that Quechua is one on the shortlist that will relish the extra ground. With the day done and dusted, War Affair left the racecourse, went back to his stable for a quiet feed and a good night's sleep.
Now I'd like to invite the President to present the prizes for the Patrons Bowl of 2015 to the winning owner and the winning horse War Affair raced by Warplan Racing Stable. Please make welcome Madam Ivy Pum. War Affair registering his 14th win today, and another Group 1, the second leg of the 4-year-old series. Congratulations go to Warplan Racing with this magnificent horse who's been at the top of his game pretty much from the first moment we saw him at Kranji. The winning trainer, Alvin Tan. Having a terrific run in season 2015 and a terrific run with this horse, War Affair, who wins another Group 1, adding to the many that he's already won, but a big one today against the 4-year-olds. And the winning jockey, Alan Munro. Alan getting the job done magnificently today. He's only had 3 rides on this horse now for a win in the Lion City Cup, a win in the Stewards Cup, and now a win in the Patrons Bowl. Congratulations go to a very much travelled jockey, an experienced jockey, and a terrific jockey in Alan Munro, who gets the win on War Affair today. So War Affair dominant yet again, running good time, 1:33.45. And our congratulations go to all winners. Mr. President, please join us, sir, for a group photograph. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thanks for joining us on the Winning Post. See you in a week's time. Do follow me on Twitter at Mohit Lalvani, and you can connect with us on our Facebook page at www.facebook.com/winningpostracing, and watch this episode again on our YouTube channel. May the horse be with you.